Let's go. Okay, let's go, let's go. Time to invest in more toxic goods and increase your shareholding pay. Okay, let's go. Okay. What? Yes! Yes! Oh! That was more luck than wisdom, but... That was more luck than it was skill, but still. Also, when did you reconstruct your... I was only doing my job, you numbskulls. And a job at that, Mr. B. The board aren't going to be happy with your performance at all. I should report you. Ooh, are you going to blackmail the bastard? Don't grass me up. Hold on, I thought Capital B was the boss around here. Nope. I'm here to monitor the key facts and here we are, and then present them to them. Well, this is in an easy to digest bullet point form. Of course. The time for talk is over. Feather features. We'll taking our book back now. Stop, you fools! You have no idea of its true purpose. When Vile gets their hands on this, we'll rule the world. Quiet, Mr. B. Remember, it states in our contracts not to disclose secret information to non-employees. No matter, we'll be taking back the one book now and ending your adventure permanently. Hello, is this the first aid room? What? Blaster, what are you there? I've got something else stuck in my throat. Don't tell me you have the book. I need assistance. Oh no, here it comes. Okay, that's the first world. We found out all about their secret organization. Phew! I'm much better now, thanks. No harm done, Blasto. At least we finally reclaimed Laylee's book and ended Ivory Tower's evil scheme. Good. That magic book's going straight in the safe when home. It'll only appreciate in value. Oh yeah, we only wanted the book because we thought it might be worth something. Okay. I don't know, but should I do anything more after this? Like, should I continue the game or should I just start something now? Well, you know what? I think I'm going to see what I'm gonna think about it. Wait, there's a golf frog as well, and a weightlifting frog. I've never met you. And there's 2 cloud people. Oh, I didn't know that there were 2 cloud people. A grand party, young warriors. With our mind embarking on a noble quest for more cake. I think you've had enough. No, let's not argue. We're all here to celebrate the heroic acts of brave Blasto. It's very brave. That loose cannon almost blew our heads off. One question, fellas. What exactly did y'all do with that unsavory $100 capital B? There's no need to worry about him anymore. Carter's not a Laylee and I just been. Yeah. More meta humor, hardy har. You know, I don't like it when they obviously leave in a sequel hook. And in this case, they clearly left in a sequel hook. Like, I don't mind if they leave a plot hole that could be resolved in the future. But in this case, it's last minute. Oh, by the way, there are bigger bosses. We are only doing our job. There's a bigger corporation. We have shareholders. We have people who we have to please. What's this? Oh. Oh, whoa. Oh, God. That was not what I intended. I was messing around with the controls. I don't... Oh, I can actually reverse it? Okay. Let's go back to the start so we can get everything good on screen. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know whether I like this game. I don't like the way they've left in this obvious hook for a sequel. I like it when there is the possibility of a sequel, but they don't end up teasing it. You know what I mean? Like, I like how there's the possibility of a sequel, but I don't like it when a game or book or any work of fiction ends with, by the way, there's more coming. See you all then. I don't like that. I don't mind the possibility. Like, what's a good example? Okay, Persona 5 has left a couple, intentionally left 2 or 3 things open. So that in case they ever got for sequels or whatever. For an example, never finding the... Oh, spoiler alert for Persona 5. Never finding a guy's corpse. Never finding out exactly what happened to the drunk reporter's friend, colleague person who got mind wiped. Or never really knowing about the past, but Futaba's mother. All of whom are characters that are implied to have some degree of knowledge and stuff, and basically they're characters similar to Labrys or Ray, in that we know they exist, and that the games inform us that they exist, but we don't yet know enough about them. That there is a character who is known to exist, but there is, in that case, there is space that they can still expand on it. Here it's way too goddamn obvious. You know? Oh yeah, this is all the backers. I'm gonna continue this game. I think I'm going to. There's gonna be at least a couple more episodes coming. I'm not ending it on here. Like, there were at least some things I saw that looked interesting that I still want to do, but I'm not going 100% either. I'm not 100% in the kind of guy, you know. Oh. I like this music. It's nice, and this is a good credit stream. Like, it doesn't overshadow anything. It's just there. It's not annoying. It doesn't go annoying easily. It's a good kind of credit stream. You know what I mean? Not too cluttered, not too big. Just a nice little tune. Okay, I am accelerating this a bit more. Okay, this will be a good pace because, oh god, we are not getting through ADs like this, aren't we? This is gonna... Oh my god, if this is what every Patreon... No, not Patreon, Kickstarter project's gonna be like with the goddamn credits, then we're all fucked. Like, there's gonna be a generation of... There's like an entire generation of Kickstarter games coming up that have yet to be finished, but that will hopefully eventually be finished. Like, that's a shit ton. Like, look at how many of these... How long this is taking. Like, there are like, assuming that this is in any way a good image of how much it takes, like... There must have been, like, games that took up less gigs than the credits for a Kickstarter game. I mean, I understand they all kind of deserve their own degree of credit. And they all deserve credit, I'm not saying they don't, but... Holy shit. And we're not even out of the... into the fucking bees. This is gonna be a while. Like, holy shit. This is... I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but... do I have to like anything to drink? Because I've resolved to always sit my way through the credits. At least for Let's Play, you know, just always to be honest. Credit sequence, you'll show that. You show that, but... Oh my god. You know, this might be might be a good reason to swear to never do a Kickstarter game on my channel again. Because I don't even feel right speeding this kind of thing up. Okay, anything I can talk about? I created a list of topics in case I ever felt like I needed something to talk about. Let's see. Oh yeah, A Hat in Time came out recently. It looks interesting. Like I just mentioned, I will not be let's playing it because it's a Kickstarter game, to the best of my knowledge, and I am not doing another Kickstarter game. But Persona, let's talk about Persona, because I really don't have much else to talk about right now. And I talked about it earlier. Like Persona, there's like a teaser image for Persona Q2, which I'm going to assume is probably going to include Persona 5 characters, Persona 4 characters, and Persona 3 characters. I'm gonna hope they will eventually open up Personas 2 and 1, but I'm not seeing it, you know. I'd love to see it, but I'm not expecting anything. But there are gonna be a couple of problems. Like, one, they're probably going to do the same thing though that they did with what they did with Labras was that they pulled out a character that was known to exist. It was already a pre-existing character. Only in her case, it was an obscure character mentioned by name only in a drama CD, Japan only. And Rei was a character of which we know it existed. She's spoiler alert. Okay, spoiler alert for Personas 2, 3, 4, 5, Arena, Ultimax, Q, possibly Dancing All Night. Yeah, Dancing All Night as well. And potential spoilers if I'm good at guessing things for Q and anything in the future. Official spoiler alert over. There are going to be a couple of problems that they're going to have to work through. Like for one, let's assume that they do the same thing they did in Q. They create a separate point in time outside of time that they will lift the three groups from. Let's assume that they are also that Personas 3 and 4 casts are pulled from approximately the same eras that they were pulled from for the original Q. As in, let's just say they'll both be picked up from their school festivals again. Then we have a problem with whether or not. Okay, it's not a spoiler that there is a traitor, so I will try to avoid, because the game for Persona 5 starts with basically mentioning you were stabbed in the back. Trust me, you were stabbed in the back. Someone's gonna stab you in the back. So I'm gonna try to not name this traitor. And it's also not really a plot twist that that your character knew they were gonna get stabbed in the back and that they'd actually outplanned it in one of those outwitting the outwitter, double treachery, triple. It was a case of mutual backstabbing. I like those cases, but you know, I like them on narrative wise. They're interesting. And it isn't actually. I don't even really consider it a spoiler who's the traitor, but I'm gonna try to not mention who the traitor is. But let's just say that your cast knew who the traitor was, which means that the question is: are they gonna pick your cast from a point in time at which the traitor has already joined your party? Or are gonna pick your cast at a moment without the traitor? Because if they pick you with the traitor, then without the traitor, then you are missing a potential teammate who, well, he is kind of becoming a fan favorite. I fucking hate the character, but you know, they are kind of popular. Just not with me. I don't like the character, but you know. I don't like him as a traitor, I don't like him as a non-traitor, I don't like him as a character, I don't like him as a person. I just don't like him in general. Let's assume that they pick him though. Well, what are they gonna do with him? I mean, everyone in this party knew that he was a traitor, that he was and that he was planning on murdering them all. Everyone in their cast knew that. So, is the Persona 5 cast gonna be silent about the serial killer in their midst? About the fact that they have a serial killer, that they're bringing with them a serial killer who's gonna consider all of them a dangerous loose end to be tied up to prevent anything from happening, to prevent them from becoming a threat for his plan? Really? Because I don't see that going, so that means that the traitor is gonna, that either they're gonna have to use the traitor and have the cast keep it silent, in which case, that's a dangerous game they're playing. That's a dangerous game. like the characters are playing then, to just not mention the fact that they have a serial killer? Or are they going to mention they have a serial killer, in which case the very point of including the guy isn't very good? Also, we know that they definitely gonna have their memory removed at the end of the game, but they wouldn't know that, so they can't even do it under the excuse of, well, we can say it because we know and tell the traitor that we know he's a traitor. We can tip off the risk tipping off the traitor that we know he's a traitor because he's not gonna remember anyway, because that they don't know that. Also, then there's the Velvet Room problem. I mean, they're probably bringing, like, are they gonna bring Igor into this one? I don't know. Like, the last two were, they were. Okay, spoiler alert, not my Igor. It's not Igor. Igor's not Igor in Persona 5. That's a different guy pretending to be Igor. Everyone saw it coming though. Everyone. I saw it coming before they released the game. And I mean that. I noticed that there was a certain pattern. Whenever something changed, they tried to create an in-universe reason that it changed. When a mechanics changed from a JRPG dungeon crawler to a fighting game, they created an in-universe reason why it was now a fighting game, why it followed the narrative of a fighting game, the 1v1 matchups of a fighting game. Everything made more sense to create it into a fighting game. When they did a rhythm game and made it when they made Dancing All Night, they probably made an in-universe reason. I don't know it. Q, they gave a reason why the mechanics were different, because the wildcard power embodying infinity could not function properly in a dimension embodying the concept of finity. They were on a very conceptual level incompatible, which resulted in a weird situation where your powers stopped working as they should have worked. There was a reason within the universe. So the fact that Igor's voice actor in Japan died made it quite clear that they led to them not using Igor for a while. Igor isn't in Arena. Igor isn't in Q. So they had to create. So then, to bring him back, there'd have to be a reason. Also, they have to have a reason to change the voice actor. They have to have a reason why he's been absent. Well, 2 hits in 1 stone. He's not back, it's an impersonator, he's been imprisoned. It was easy to predict. It made the most logical and narrative sense. I'm not very good at enjoying things, you know. I have like this narrative Sherlock scan going on where that really messes with me. I created a list of 3 most likely mythological characters to be the ones impersonating Igor, based off of the early trailers for Persona 5, in which they showed that they were gonna bring back the demon designs from Shin Megami Tensei, which I know figures more on Judeo-Christian lore than the rest, and has God as the ultimate bastard in it, which is very accurate to his mythology, to be honest. I mean, God is... I made a list of every mythological character assigned by their approximate malevolence. Now, it's gonna be a bit weird to compare, is Ahriman worse than Satan? But number 1 is definitely worse than number 1000. Do you know what I'm getting at? Halfway is number 1. Because unlike Zeus, who rapes and willingly and knowingly manipulates someone to cause everything on life on Earth, Halfway is omniscient and omnipotent. Which means that, well, Zeus can deny how much evil, knowledge of how much evil and suffering his Pandora's box situation was gonna cause. Halfway can't deny that when he made Adam, Eve, the apple and the snake, he knew how those pieces would interact. He willingly and knowingly planned out Adolf when he made Adam. And there's a whole alphabet of suffering to go. I mean, the idea of a benevolent God, but basically God's evil in that universe, and that's because the guys who wrote it realized that God's evil, God cannot be not evil. The famous principle of Epimetheus. No, not Epimetheus. Epicurus is the name I was looking for, sorry. The Epicurus paradox, as they call it. Which really isn't a paradox, because a paradox is a set of tenets that is internally contradictory, while there is no tenet establishing within the Epimetheus paradox establishing the existence of a benevolent god, and without that tenet in the logic, there is no contradiction. So it is more of a logical observation disproving the concept of a benevolent god as being something that could theoretically be real. Back to the matter at hand. Back to the Persona 5. I knew that they were going that direction, so it was probably going to be someone tied. Either was going to be Harvey, unlikely, a bit on the nose. A less famous, a smaller aspect or less famous name for Harvey, or another mythological character who got absorbed into Harvey, which would either be the Semitic god El, husband to Ashera, who the Semitic tribes worshipped and eventually warped into Haveh, or it was gonna be the thing where the origin of the duality between good and evil in the Bible, because that's the fact that Semitic tribes encountered early Zoroastrian tribes and ended up basically, it's cultural appropriation. They saw their idea of duality between good and evil, and that Ahura Mazda had a counterpart in Ahriman and Gramanyu, and decided to adapt that, and they ended up picking Satan, who was originally, I think, the judge of heaven, ended up picking him as the embodiment of evil, but in Alpha as the embodiment of everything good. So that made it made my first most likely guess was gonna be Ahura Mazda. Second, a less famous or near synonymous name. So I ended up looking into it, and I found that Gnosticism is like a pseudo, like it's to Christianity what the Romans were to the Greeks. You know what I mean? Basically the same lore, just changed a couple of details. So that one was my second most likely, and my third most likely was the third most likely was a two-way tie between Yeshua and the Holy Spirit, because, you know, the Trinity, using one of the other two parts of the Holy Trinity and saying that that's the evil, that wasn't going to be the one. But no, they ended up taking the Gnostic equivalent of Haveh, also known as, apparently, who from my little reading was called Zaldabov, who it turned out, guess what, they picked him. So I'm patting myself on the back for predicting that. I'd also I am very good at predicting narratives, and I don't like it. I mean, I predicted from Persona 4 Arena. I predicted that they were gonna follow. Persona 4 had basically popularized the franchise, basically gave it its big boom into not a household name, but a gaming culture household name. So they were probably gonna do something similar to what they had there. And there they had one human villain, one person being manipulated by the human villain, and one supernatural antagonist. And that they were probably gonna use that trinity again, with the supernatural antagonist manipulating the human villain, who's manipulating the field agent. Let's call him the field agent. Guess what? The field agent is the traitor, by the way. They did that, and I was able to predict approximately, pretty much what type of person it was gonna be in the second position, the human antagonist. I predicted that from Persona 4 Arena, because Mitsuru is a fucking idiot, and I fucking hate her. I mean, you tell the government about your supernatural powers, perfectly capable of being used to murder and assassinate, and she knows that they can be used to assassinate. She's met fucking Strega. She's dealt with Strega. She knows that her powers could be used for assassination purposes. Why would you give that type of knowledge to a politician? I mean, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And the one seat of power most filled with corruption is the government. Why tell the government about your power? Hell, she's also telling them about the existence of the collective consciousness and the fact that you can directly manipulate it. Basically telling the government, you don't want your political opponents to get a majority vote? Just, you can do something about that by brainwashing the entire populace. I basically predicted that most likely for the human antagonist, it was gonna be a politician abusing that for both assassination and for a combination of assassination and mind control. And guess what? I was wrong on that one. The politician was not doing the mind control. No, he was just using it for assassination purposes. The supernatural antagonist was using it for mind control purposes though, so I still feel very, very, very justified on that. So it's very hard for me to enjoy something. Like, I enjoyed Persona 4, the original. Well, I haven't played it. I've watched the Let's Play because I don't have a Vita or anything that I could play it on. Things are expensive and I am not a multi-millionaire. But I enjoyed the plot because I didn't see it coming. But then Persona 5 came with the problem that, shit, you're going to see it coming now because you are coming in here from Persona 4. So you're going to be expecting a plot twist, a giant secret. Which, by the way, made no sense for it to be in Persona 5, actually. Because it's an entirely different type of narrative. Persona 4 was a narrative of a murder mystery based around secrets and and serving as an allegory between humanities, between the question of, is ignorance truly bliss, or is it always better to know? Or can ignorance be bliss? Well, this was more about power corrupts, absolute power, absolutely. The system has failed us. Basically, it wouldn't surprise me if Persona 5 was going to turn out to be a musical, because look how the system has failed us is the story of every good musical ever, and happens to be the story here as well. How long have I been watching this? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm speeding it up a bit faster. Because we haven't even reached the M's, and that's the middle of the alphabet. Okay, now we're at the M's. But, yeah, the Persona Q still's got the Velvet Room problem, because one, are they going to bring in Igor? Highly unlikely, assuming that they bring Persona Q 5 cast from within the story. But there's also the problem of Lavenza. How are they they're probably not gonna bring in Lavenza, because they're probably bringing in split up Lavenza, or also known as Caroline and Justine. Which means that there's gonna be a thing, that there's gonna have to be a pretty big fucking plot thread about Theodore, Elizabeth, and Margaret trying to figure out where those extra siblings came from. Eventually figuring out that it's Lavenza. Like, Margaret had problems not telling Elizabeth about what happened to her about the future in Q. If she really cares about her siblings that much, she is not gonna be able to keep a secret from the twins, from Lavenza, who gets literally bisected into two people. Like, she gets her soul torn in two. Like, are they gonna use... There are some pretty big questions that they're gonna have to deal with for Persona Q2. And I'm interested in it, but I wanna know. And then there's, of course, the fact that it's basically obvious that they're probably working on an updated re-release of 5. As shown by the fact that they clearly didn't hide the guy's corpse, and then they make you spend a month in jail, which is a time skip of really suspicious nature. That basically screams, we're making a golden reboot, probably not called golden though. Oh, but what are you gonna do in jail then? Well, I said that they're probably gonna do in jail some kind of thing where they figure out where... What could they do in jail? They can't do much about the jail thing, can they? Or they can make contact with Mitsuru's group, who have a fucking lot to apologize for. Everything that went wrong in Persona 5 is directly their fault. Just so you understand, it's all fucking Mitsuru's fault. For trusting a goddamn politician with knowledge of all of this supernatural shit. And the mind control and the political assassination. It's all her fault, on gross negligence on her behalf. Like, she's fucked up. She's fucked up big time. Finally reaching the hours. Like, they're gonna tear her up. They're gonna tear into her, man. They better tear into her. If she gets Hell, I hate Mitsuru. I didn't used to hate Mitsuru, but then Arena came out, and there are so many things that happened in Arena that just make me hate her. The way she interacts with Lavras, for once. The fact that she knows Aigis. She spent with Aigis so much time. She knows that Lavras is probably like Aigis, yet still in her dialogue throughout most of the book of the story refers to her as cargo, property. Like, that's got some slavery overtones there, okay? That she considers her nothing but property to be owned. I don't want to joke about this, but I fucking hate her. I hate that bitch. I'm really frustrated right now, but seriously, like, everything that's wrong in the Persona universe, in the new Persona universe, the one that actually exists rather than the one that doesn't exist anymore, everything that's going wrong there recently is Mitsuru's fault. Like, she claims that she's trying to clean up after her family's wrongs, but she doesn't care about Lavras as anything other than a weapon to be used. Now, she claims she cares about Lavras, but I get the feeling that she only claims to do so because she's afraid that Lavras is gonna go all "I'ma kill you all" on her for enslaving her, which she basically is doing. Like, there is absolutely zero reasons why Lavras could not have just gone to school. Just making it clear. She has fucking illusion powers to the point where it was impossible to notice that she wasn't human. She possesses those powers to create illusions over herself. If she wanted to, she could have gone to school. Why didn't you say that? Why? She could have just gone to school. She could have stuck around with the Persona 4 cast. But no. Mitsuru's insistent that she has the final saying in what happens to Lavras because she's her property. Fucking whore. Like, Mitsuru's become this... Like... There is just... Like, Mitsuru suffers from what I call Dumbledore syndrome, where we are supposed to believe them to be both competent and good, but the fact is that the story keeps showing things that are... Where it makes more sense to believe that they aren't, but they try to claim that they are, and the writers try to claim that they are. Good people, with good intentions, doing good things, but everything they've ever done ends up causing misery, strife amongst the innocent. And they repeatedly... Like, it's just... That I call that Dumbledore syndrome, because the first time I ever really suffered from it was with Albus Dumbledore from the Harry Potter franchise. But Mitsuru's got it going. Like, Mitsuru's got it going pretty badly. Thank God! I was stretching for commentary. See you all next episode.